Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy. Business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County. Safe, secure, and supported. Helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdecalb.org.
And welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 27. Almost flying solo, but of course the oak tree of the news department with us, Dan Lynch. Dan, I was telling you off the air that we were trying to get a couple people in. Of course, the big story about the data center there in DeKalb, and some people speaking for, some people speaking against at the city council meeting on Monday night. Yeah. The folks can't make it, weren't able to make that, though. But it's very interesting to get to watch that, to sit and watch the city council meeting like that. A lot of people spoke. I don't know if you saw that. It was 2.5 hours. Yeah. So many people spoke. I think over 30 people spoke pro and con for that. But then the vote was voted bada boom, bada bing, and that was it. So again, democracy in action. It's great to see so many people stepping up. But as a citizen of DeKalb, I was a little taken back how quickly things were just kind of pushed through. Now, I know this goes back to, I guess, October or even go back further than that when they started talking about this. But I don't understand the rush right now in terms of this final. I think they waived the second reading as well. So it's pretty much a done deal. And all the city council members voted in favor as well. So
it seemed pretty merciless.
It did. It was, hear these folks speaking passionately about it. And then the vote comes, and I guess that's the way, majority rules, and that's how it works, I know. But so we're going to try to get somebody in next week on our news podcast here and just talk about what they might be doing. I know there was a petition going around where supposedly they had 350 signatures on the petition. One of the things that was wrong in the petition that they said that the Afton Forest Preserve was circulating against the data center, and that is not true. Somebody at the meeting Monday night spoke from the Afton Forest Preserve. So the Daily Chronicle saying the story had been edited to correct an earlier version which misstated that the Afton Forest Preserve, maintained by the DeKalb County Forest Preserve, I didn't know that, opposes a proposed Endeavor Energy data center development in DeKalb. An earlier version of the story was incorrectly connected to the social media page with the government department. So there you have. So they're not behind that, but people spoke. I know the lady from Oak and Acres spoke and spoke about there being eagles. There's eagles' nests involved here, but But I guess the almighty.
And so you might assume that this person or the people concerned about the environment are left of center. Then you got the people right of center who are worried about other potentially menacing things within a data center that we don't know about.
Right.
Illegal.
Yeah, they covered a lot of ground here. A lot of the big concern was the water because the Meta data center is limited to 200,000 gallons a day of water, but apparently this new data center will not have water. It will be a gas cooled. Yeah, so.
And the city bent over backwards to get that out there online in their posts.
But now the noise, I didn't think about the noise, Dan, where they said that roughly within up to 3,000 feet you can hear the noise, the hum, I guess, and then, or even up to 2 miles. And I'm within that 2 mile radius, and I don't want to be hearing no hum. I remember back when I first moved to DeKalb in 2001, the Forge, the Forge, remember how you used to hear that all the time, pounding away, the boom, 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 that Forge over there on the Pleasant Street?
I did not recall hearing that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Jake and Elwood Blues.
Right, with the train. How often the train goes by. So often you won't even notice. Well, maybe that will be the case with this, but I'm just curious to see if people are going to let this go or the people that started this petition or if they're, going to ultimately chain themselves to a tree when it comes down to it or what's going to play out there.
I mean, that's industry. I remember I was doing radio in western Kansas, and it was evening, and I said to my colleague, what is this? What does that smell? What do I smell? And he goes, oh, that's the smell of burning blood.
Oh, God.
They have a lot of rendering plants in this part of the country.
Yeah.
And that's the economy in
Yeah.
that part of the country.
Well, if you remember, we had a horse slaughtering plant here. Remember that years back? Where
Was
they,
there one in DeKalb?
Yeah. Yeah, big controversy whether they should. I think it burned, and then they were going to rebuild it. And somebody said, we don't want a horse slaughtering, rendering plant in our backyard. And then we learned all about in Europe and places, the other people eating horses, I guess. But the people spoke up. So we'll see have to wait and see what happens here. But do you have anything other than that? Other than there are many benefits, obviously, that this will bring, financial-wise. You were talking about the tax abatement, which is a little surprising that it's 20 years a tax abatement. But like you said, maybe that's what it took to close the deal.
Well, and you see this a lot when cities are trying to entice a company to come to their community. They'll give them breaks. And but 20, and it's not a full break.
Right. It was, I think, 50% is what it is. But
20
again,
years. Whoa.
yeah.
Hopefully they tried to drive a hard bargain. And I don't know who's doing the negotiation.
Right.
Bill Nicholas, he's a sharp guy.
Yeah.
So, and Cohen's sharp.
Oh, sure. And, they'll do due diligence, and they got, the IPA involved in that. I don't know a lot about this, so I'm not going to speak, off the top of my head, but just a meeting process. And like I said, we're going to follow up on this. Hopefully have somebody here next week on our news podcast and follow up more on this story, because obviously it's a story that's not going to go away immediately. And I don't know when they're talking about breaking ground or whatever, but we'll see how that plays out. But what else? You got other news there, Dan? What do you got for news?
Well, I just want to reiterate, it's Project Vector, 560 acres along Route 23. This will be south of Meta, south of Facebook. And the project includes 4 buildings, 3 million square feet, roughly. Local state rep Jeff Kiker was cited economic growth.
They're touting the benefits, yes.
All, construction jobs, increased tax revenue, et cetera, et cetera. And but opponents raised questions about environmental impacts, traffic. I talked to one lady who lives in the area. She said her horizon, looking out at the sunset, that's going to be impacted.
Uh-huh.
I talked to another guy who lives on Crego, a little further south, who just rolled his eyes.
Is that right? Okay.
About it. I mean, that's why you live in the country.
Right.
But so DeKalb's getting bigger. DeKalb is growing, literally.
Yeah. There's no fighting.
With the annexation.
Yeah, and Bill Nicholas pointed out that stool, it's all connected, right? They're not going further out and coming back in. This is all interconnected to the city of DeKalb. So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
thus the benefits ultimately will come our way. But
It's not like a legislative map.
no,
You know?
right. No gerrymandering going on here.
So, and one other stat, maybe you had this already, but 300 to 400 full-time jobs paying $75K or more, and reducing property taxes equivalent to more than, and producing property taxes akin to more than 3,100 homes.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So if it stayed the way, like you said, you would need 3,100 homes to get the same tax revenue from having this plant. So kind of argue with those numbers right there. All right, very good. What else you got for news?
The DeKalb City Council approved the 2026 budget. The budgeted expenses for the general fund for 2026 will be $55.9 million. This year, it's $52.2 million, in case you're wondering.
All right.
The city budget includes spending for utilities, airport, all the city departments, capital projects, pension and insurance funds, and includes the property tax levy recommended by the Finance Advisory Committee. So here are the top 10 tax-paying employers in DeKalb.
What are you, David Letterman? Or here are the top 10.
Top 10. Number 1 is Facebook
Okay.
or Meta.
All right.
3M is 2. Then Ferrara.
Well, this is a list of highest taxpayers in DeKalb County?
Top 10 tax-paying employers.
Okay, employers. Okay.
Facebook, 3M, Ferrara, Target, Amazon, Goodyear, Oakcrest, Nestle, Panduit, which is skipping town,
Yeah, right. They're out of here. Yeah.
and the 10th is University Village.
Really? Oak Crest is one of them, too, as well.
Yeah, Oakcrest is in there. Yep.
Okay, I wanted to mention them too. Oakcrest are doing their light up the Oakcrest there, so help out with a donation there because they're a nonprofit indeed. Well, that's a really interesting stat to have there, Dan. That's neat.
Right. So the business 20, data center area. What do they call that project?
Vector. Oh, that's the new one. This Project Vector.
But the Chicago West
Right.
Business Center. I mean,
Project 88. Right.
thank you. That's generating tax money.
It is.
So
You can't argue with that. I mean, like you said, well, those are hard numbers. They're certainly. And they said if you build one, then more want to come. And boy, if that's not working exactly the way they said it would.
and Sycamore city leaders say they need some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Marvin Barnes, one of the aldermen here from Sycamore, saying that they'd love to get some of that industry in Sycamore as well.
Right.
So-
So I-88 has been beneficial
Yeah.
to DeKalb.
What else you got?
A vacant house caught fire Friday, December 5th. DeKalb firefighters responded just before 2 p.m. as smoke was reported coming from the attic of a home. This was in the 600 block of North 5th. Crews found the home unoccupied, as the home was also on the market to be sold.
Oh, boy.
The fire spread into the second floor and attic, prompting requests for more manpower from several departments. Officials say the home was declared unlivable because of the fire and smoke damage. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire was not released.
Oh, that's I'm curious about. Maybe electrical or something, or do you think some vagrants were in there, perhaps?
Or
One never
a
knows.
squirrel. Yeah,
Squirrel.
I don't know.
I blame it on the squirrel. That would be the bottom line for me. I have a problem with the squirrels. Safe Passage, again, we've, back when we were on the radio, we always interviewed Safe Passage, again, the domestic violent agency. Unfortunately necessary here in DeKalb County. Well, they broke ground on their new development there. Very exciting to see that there. The shelter, according to them, lifted up with their nowhere else to go, says mom, survivor, and now a board member. So we're going to have them on one of our future podcasts here. But this is a very important thing to have. Obviously, Dan, when we hear about these stories about women, mostly women, getting, restraining orders against their other half, and then inevitably that other person finds them or they get released from prison. And it's a very scary situation. They have nowhere else to go. So this is why it's so important to have a place like Safe Passage.
Yeah, and if you look through the police reports, it's domestic abuse. If you got rid of all the domestic abuse in police reports, the reports would shrink 95%.
Yeah, that's really amazing. That is. So God bless them. It's again, there's some grants money as well. A capital campaign, an estimated $5 million facility remains underway. Much of the money has been raised through private donations, grants, and other funds, such as the $2.5 million secured through the federal government with the help of U.S. Representative Lauren Underwood from Naperville. So they'll be they broke ground on that. So we'll be talking to them about how important that is. And again, unfortunately, the need is there. And again, a lot of these women, and again, mostly women, especially when they have children, they have nowhere else to go. And they always have to factor that in, right, Dan, with the kids. Where can I go and have the kids with me as well? So.
Right. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. And it's not, it seems like the numbers are increasing.
It does. Now, I know maybe that's because they're being reported more. I tell the story when I was living in Denver. I was living next to an apartment where the couple was fighting all the time. And I heard him and I heard her crying, but I did nothing. I turned the TV up, I never once reported it. They moved out ultimately, but I always felt guilty about not doing anything. At least, I could have anonymously called and said, I'm hearing a lot of noise in the apartment next door, but I never did, just ignored it. So I think a lot more people are stepping up in that way and reporting this stuff.
Yeah, in apartment complexes, kind of a stigma for that. I experienced it too. Next door over, the efficiency I was running. I heard a lot of shouting, and I was half asleep,
right? And where I was always told, don't get involved. Don't get involved. You don't want to be because you don't want to alienate somebody in your apartment complex. But if you did it anonymously, it's I regret not having done that.
Yeah, my father got into a fight with an encyclopedia salesman when my parents were newlyweds.
Oh, come on. This sounds like a joke.
No, real story.
Yeah?
My dad suffered a collapsed lung.
Oh, gosh.
And they were fighting in the corridor, and my mom was screaming. Well, the next day, my mom's talking to all the ladies. This is early 60s, TD.
Okay.
And her lady friend neighbors told my mother, well, we thought Jerry came home and you were with another man.
Oh,
They were all, because none of them came over. My mom said, how come none of you came out to help stop the fight?
oh my God.
So that's just how people are.
Yeah.
They'll drive by a car wreck and they'll look, but they're not going to stop and get out.
Right. Unfortunately, that is the case there. Now, we're in a future podcast, we're going to have the new police chief from NIU on here, and I kind of want to get more into NIU and follow what's going on. So I printed up the police report, the crime log here. And a lot, like you'd say, there's a lot of illegal consumption of alcohol, a lot of tampering with fire alarms, which I thought was kind of passe. But that's some serious, too, electronic harassment, tampering with security from, again, disruptive intoxication. But there's something happening, 2 or 3 things every day. So you wonder what goes on the NIU campus. It's not like it's a heavy crime stuff. Like I said, a lot of innocent stuff there. Possession of cannabis, I guess we don't have that. Criminal trespassing. And then this one is about 8 people involved with the tampering with security, fire, alarm, or safe system occurred at various residence halls. So apparently that's still... Remember you'd pull the alarm, remember back in the day? But apparently they're still doing it.
Ink on your hand?
Oh, no.
Yeah. That way.
They'll know who did it?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. No. All right, what else you got? Some more news again?
Oh, yeah. DeKalb man accused of assaulting local police. According to arrest documents, back on November 16th at around 2:30 a.m., deputies were called to the Marathon gas station on Route 23, which you've driven by.
I know right where that is, yes.
So that's open 24 hours. There was a man on crutches in the store accused of stealing merchandise and destroying property. A deputy attempted to speak with the man in the parking lot, but the man ignored the cop and went on his way. 38-year-old Richard Kimball was then arrested. He was placed...
Dr. Kimball? No.
Nope. Maybe. He was placed in a cell at the county jail. Police say Kimball took a swing at a sergeant, striking the sergeant in the nose. Later, Kimball asked for water. And when another officer gave him a cup of water, Kimball threw the water at the officer. The next day, at Kimball's home, this was on North 11th in DeKalb, officers were taking him into custody regarding a court order. Kimball told officers he was going to knock them out.
LL Cool J.
Yes. Except Mama didn't say it.
Mama didn't tell him to do it.
And he used some other language in the knock them out comment, too. He also began resisting arrest and kicking. He then bit the ear of a detective.
Oh, my gosh.
Causing it to bleed. Kimball was taken to the hospital per a court order, but he's facing several charges.
Wow, I would think so. Because I remember you had a story not too long ago with somebody spitting on an officer, and that's considered assault, right? That's not some little pass away. That's assault there, right?
I guess it varies, but it's assaulting a peace officer.
Yeah, right.
That's how they list it.
Okay, yeah. Even though it's just the spitting, but boy, that's wow. And once when you watch guys like that, with the cop show, now they brought a new one back on. They canceled Cops, and then they had another show which was even better than Cops, and now there's even Cops 24/7, I think it is now.
Okay.
But it is fascinating to watch what those guys go through, and the folks that they're working with, not always working with the best of people. Hey, speaking of the best people, I want to thank the folks at DeKalb County for coming through again. Freezing for Food 2025, a huge success. We had right now we have 141,000 pounds of food. The Sycamore Lions Club is getting us a check as well, so we're still getting some residual effect there, but we didn't know how it was going to go, Dan, without the radio station to promote it, but we did great. The Coyote, I want to thank the Coyote out there at 102.3 out of Rochelle for helping us promote it. And, of course, Barry's Backyard Shed for providing the shed, and Blackhawk Moving and Storage for the Go Mini. And we had more food than we ever had, over 6,000 pounds of actual food. And then we had about $13,000 in donations as well. So lots of people thank. Well, especially thanks Visiting Angels. Jim from Visiting Angels with the largest donation that we had. And want to thank them so much for that. But, a lot of smaller ones, a lot of people bringing us 2 or 3 cans, which ultimately led to having over 6,000 pounds of food. So I want to thank everybody else that helped us out with that. And Hy-Vee, of course, I want to thank Hy-Vee and Gus from Hy-Vee as well.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. So
Glad to hear that.
the heck with the radio station, we don't need that. But thanks everybody who donated. We really appreciate that. And like I said, I learned DeKalb County because I'm always emphasizing Sycamore, the Salvation Army in Sycamore. DeKalb serves all of DeKalb County. And I didn't realize when you break it down, Cortland, DeKalb, Genoa, Hinckley, Kingston, Kirkland, Lee, Malta, Maple Park, Sandwich, Shabana, Salmonock, Sycamore, and Waterman are all make up DeKalb County. Now, some of them, I guess, are like half, right? Do you want to tell me that?
Well, Maple Park is right on the county line.
Yeah.
I mean, the old part of the old town is built in Kane County,
Okay.
but a good chunk is in DeKalb County now.
Yeah, so but we're emphasizing that Salvation serves all of those areas. And so thanks to all the folks that donated. Again, a very successful Freezing for Food campaign. We had a great Let's Talk Turkey campaign. So nice to know folks stepping up like that here in DeKalb County. They never let us down. They didn't let us down again.
Good job.
Yeah, so we'll take that. You got another news story?
Yeah.
What do you got?
The ballot for Illinois' March 17th primary election is a bit more clear after this week's State Board of Elections hearing. Governor Pritzker will be unopposed on the Democratic side after the board voted to remove his challenger, Patricia Tillman, due to lack of valid signatures. In Illinois' U.S. Senate race, because that'll be an open seat because Dick Durbin,
Yeah, he's
longtime
finally
senator,
stepping down, right? Yeah.
is retiring. So Democratic voters will have 10 choices on the 17th of March.
Is that right?
10. And although usually there's 1 or 2 who will drop out if they're polling really low.
Right.
And the Republican voters will have 7 choices that day as well.
Wow.
So you'll be seeing yard signs as soon as Christmas is over, TD.
Oh, yes. if even waiting until then, we'll see how that one plays out. That'll be cool. And any else? You got another news story today?
One other one. This is a big issue. I don't know if it gets talked about a lot, but it's regarding suicide. A vigil is planned this week outside the State of Illinois building in Chicago, and I'm sure perhaps one in Springfield too, urging Governor Pritzker to veto a physician-assisted suicide bill. Now, the Catholic bishops of Illinois wrote to the governor urging for a veto of Senate Bill 1950, as they claim it is a matter of grave moral importance. Disability rights folks, they oppose the bill. Also, some county coroners have expressed grave concerns. It was in the early morning hours of October 31st, middle of the night, the Illinois legislature got up out of bed and passed the bill, which could make it legal for people to kill themselves with the help of a doctor. Critics say assisted suicide negatively impacts impressionable young people. A 2022 study by the CDC claims suicide is the second leading cause of death for U.S. teens and young adults 10 to 34.
Yeah, that is a slippery slope indeed to talk about that. But, having never had chronic pain, I remember I worked with a gentleman named Norm who had a chronic back pain, and I asked him to describe the pain on a level of 1 to 10 on a daily basis, and he said about an 8 or a 9 on a daily basis, and living with that. I don't know I can't imagine what living like that is, but, and I know we're talking about a lot of serious medical issues here, but this is a very, we do a suicide prevention show here on the TD Ryan Unleashed podcast, and back when I was on the radio station, we had Father Black from the Newman Center. He used to come on, and boy, I really liked him a lot. And we talked about suicide, and we talked about the Catholic stand on suicide, and he said, and he kind of comforted me in that sense that, having lost my best friend to suicide, that though our Heavenly Father would not condemn you for being in so much pain that you decide to take your own life. And, of course, we always emphasize on the show that when people commit suicide, they're not being selfish. They think they're relieving all the people around them of the burden of them being around. So, I mean, to interpret that as being a selfish act is certainly not correct. But Father Black said that, that the Heavenly Father would never, cast you out like that. I remember when we were kids, they told us about purgatory, that you might go to purgatory. I always remember some kind of concept like I'd have to pray for hundreds of years to get out of purgatory to get into heaven, you know. But it was great to hear Father Black from the Catholic perspective on suicide. And
It's good that you had him on.
Yeah.
Because Catholicism is not an American religion. You know, it's kind of an Italian religion. And, you know, a lot gets lost, and there are a lot of misunderstandings, especially for me. I remember reading a book that someone gave me about hell. And I thought, well, I'm clearly going there. I mean, you know, but you have to be very, you know, in Christianity in general, I mean, the Bible was written in Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic and Latin, and, you know, I don't know those languages. So it's good to talk to someone who is educated.
Yeah, who studied this stuff.
Like
a
priest.
Yeah.
That can kind of bring better context. And, you know, you don't know what's in someone's heart. I think of Junior Seau. Remember Junior Seau? What a great linebacker he was.
And he committed suicide, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, who knows what was in his heart or on his heart. I mean, maybe he was in pain. Dave Doerson. Number 22 for the Bears.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people suffering out there.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll follow up on that story. And we got another suicide prevention show coming up real soon as well. Let's lighten things up with the community calendar brought to you by your Stagecoach Players Theater. Now, we're doing this on today's the 11th, I believe, Dan. And so this weekend only is, of course, the Christmas Carol. And we were able to give out some of those tickets. I want to thank our friends at Stagecoach Players. They got other shows coming up. Go to stagecoachplayers.com for more information or call 758-1940. Still might be able to sneak in a ticket there for a Christmas Carol. Kishwaukee Concert Band performs holiday concert on December 20th. Don't want to miss that. If you want more information, go to kishwaukeeconcertband.com. And the Kishwaukee Symphony Orchestra will perform the holiday pop concerts. The two of the concerts will be held 7 p.m. December 12th and 2 p.m. December 14th at the Boutel Memorial Concert Hall. Now, I got to tell you, Dan, we went to a friend of ours was singing in the Celebration Chorale over there at the Trinity United Church. We went there and inviting us all to sing along. They were singing all your classic spiritual songs there.
But come all ye faithful.
Yeah, we were jamming with that one. But it really makes you realize singing does make you feel good. Now, I know you attend services at the Newman Center, I believe. Do you sing? Does the family sing when the time is appropriate?
I don't sing anymore. I was in the choir at my previous church.
Oh, were you really? Wow.
I was in the bass section, and it was a lot of fun. And the choir director was, again, like a historian, providing a lot of insight. But we sang in parts, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It was a good outlet.
I bet.
You know, sometimes after work you need to go to the batting cages or have a beer. But singing is another activity. You know, that kind of it's an outlet for you.
Yeah, it's a great release. Yeah, that's a great point. That's what, and the camaraderie, like they were saying. So kudos for the Celebration Chorale. I want to thank them. Also want to mention the holiday wreaths for purchase for veterans. The DeKalb American Legion Auxiliary Holiday Wreath Campaign runs through December 13th. That's this Sunday. It'll be running through. But again, what they're doing is they're putting wreaths on veterans' graves. The wreaths will be available from noon to 2 p.m. December 6th through the 13th at the DeKalb American Legion Auxiliary Post 66, 1204 South 4th Street. The campaign goal is to provide area family members with a decorative wreath for veterans' homes or grave sites. The wreath costs $15. So if you want to do that, what a great thing to do. Either you're going to decorate the grave site or bring it to a veteran who's alive. And you have a nice wreath there to the door. So, and the warming centers. We want to mention that again with the extreme cold that we've had. Warming centers in DeKalb, of course, Hope Haven, DeKalb Public Library, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of DeKalb. I'm going to learn how to say their name, but they're the ones who have that overnight center there. And boy, how great is that to have?
And they provide that niche of overnight hours.
Right.
You know, the library here is not open overnight.
Yeah.
So
when it gets the coldest there. So that's great that they provide that to DeKalb Salvation Army. Again, this is during the day. Sycamore Police Department, again, that's 24 hours as well. The Sycamore Library again, and the Genoa Police Department as well. So again, if you're struggling out there. Now, I got our heating bill, and it was a little higher than I'd like to have. But I noticed, Dan, on the back of the last sheet on the NICOR bill, it says, help a family in need to pay their gas bill this winter. Please donate $5, $10, $15, $25, or $50 to our sharing program circulating the appropriate amount on your payment stub. So you can donate right through NICOR there, which is, I imagine they're matching the funds, I would think. They don't really say that they're matching it, but it's kind of neat. After you're biting the bullet paying your gas bill, they kind of hit you up for helping somebody else out. But why not?
This is the first time you've noticed that?
Yeah. Have you always noticed that? I never noticed that.
I'll have to check. I don't. My wife pays that bill.
Yeah, there's a great story of people know Steve Hartman on the Sunday morning show. There was a gentleman who went to his small town and he went to the pharmacy and he said, "Does anybody have ever a problem paying for their medicine?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." So he gave him $100 and said, "Well, use this the next time somebody can't pay." So he kept doing that, and he passed away. And it turned out no one of those guys that turned out to have a lot more money than anybody realized because he lived so cheap. And his family took it over, and then other people heard about him doing this. So it's continued on where people have donated to this fund where people that can't pay for their medicine, they have this fund that they use now. And he started it, and they kept it going. His family kept it going.
Must be a big fund.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they help out in any way they can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's outrageous what you have to pay for.
Oh, my gosh. I know. And what are we going to do? What's our alternative? I don't think we have one. Sports. Sycamore girls, we're going to just do one high school team a week here, and the Sycamore girls are on track to match last year's win total with a great supporting cast there. Grace Appman, among others. Want to mention, of course, Adam Wickness is just a great, great coach there, and of course, he lost most of his starters this last year, but they're on pace to win more games than they won last year. I want to mention Evan Carrier, who had a big game, 26 points the other night, and Sadie Lang had 33 points the other night as well. So congratulations to Sycamore girls basketball team getting back on track. And this is interesting. You remember Lexi Carlson? She was a star on the Sycamore girls basketball team. And then her mom coached at NIU.
Really?
Lisa Carlson. But Lisa just lost her job last year, and I didn't realize that Lexi had transferred. So, I mean, she was living the dream, playing for mom at NIU. I mean, how great was that after she started at Sycamore? But mom changed, so she changed. So Lexi now is with the Drake Bulldogs in her sophomore year. Nick Dieman, who, again, we talked to Coach Ryan, who is retiring at DeKalb Sycamore High School. Nick playing for the Green Bay Packers, 6'3", 234-pound. And, of course, his brother also playing for the San Diego Chargers as well. So, got a couple of Sycamore players playing in the NFL. And then Sean Reynolds, the star, the all-time leading scorer in DeKalb basketball, starts his freshman year over there at the Duville Saints. We're just getting done with sports here. And, of course, what I mentioned, look for the Davon Grant interview on TD Ryan Unleashed, sports bonus number 3, as we talk with Davon. And a podcast we got coming up, Dave Dozier, really great guy, longtime military guy. He just ran a 100-mile race, 100 miles in 24 hours.
Is he the decathlete?
Yeah, he just did the Ironman. He did the Ironman in Hawaii.
Yeah.
He had the real Ironman.
I remember him.
Yeah, and so he just did a race. He ran 100 miles in 24 hours. Actually, I think he did it in 25 hours. But can you imagine? I mean, you run a marathon, you're knocked out. This is almost 4 marathons that they're running. And you want the real kicker? I don't have it with me, but the record is like 12 hours. Somebody did it in like 12 hours, ran 100 miles.
So I think of a high school track, you run around 4 times. That's 1 mile.
Okay.
So that would be 400 times.
Yes. So he's going to be very interesting talking to him about that and what it physically does to your body, too. It's some people, one of the questions I had was, do people sleep during a 100-mile race? Because, again, it's 24 hours. Some people sleep during a 100-mile race, but often short power naps, minutes by an hour to aid station, while many others power through without sleeping, relying on brief rests, mental tricks, or local brain sleep to manage fatigue. I'm going to have to ask him about that. What would have been my father-in-law, my lovely wife's father, was a farmer, and he would come in at lunchtime after he had a little snack and set the alarm for 10 minutes. He had 10 minutes on one of those kitchen timers, and he'd do the 10 minutes and get out. They said he was able to fall asleep immediately, got up after 10 minutes and went back to work. And he was a farmer, so you know how hard it is working. But that worked for him, he said. I don't know, 10-minute nap, can you imagine that? To me, it would just be a tease. I wouldn't even want to do it because I'd want to
fall asleep on demand.
Yeah. And get the 10, and he acted like the 10 minutes, that's all he needed. So God bless him. So that's it for sports. Again, we have a look now at the birthday and anniversary list brought to you by your friends at the DeKalb County History Center. You can go to DeKalbCountyHistory.org, and they're always kind enough to send us over, in addition to what you see in the midweek. This was from a bond issue was approved by DeKalb voters December 18th, 1928, to build a modern sewage treatment plant. Construction started the following April and was completed in 1930. The plant was located 16 acres of land adjacent to the Kishwaukee River at the foot of Hollister Avenue. So over there where that water plant is, that's 16 acres? That goes back? I didn't realize that.
1928.
Can you believe that? And December 1975, the speed limit on Annie Linton Road between Taylor Street and Lincoln Highway was changed to 35 miles per hour from 55 miles an hour. The new signs were posted December 23rd. Now, this week, in the midweek, there was a lot of good ones here, so I had a couple I wanted to talk to you about because the first one, this is 1925. At 7:30 o'clock, I love how they talked back then, 7:30 o'clock this evening, the first section of the DeKalb Board of Education Night School will open at Elwood School at Lewis and 11th Street. The school will be open to all residents of DeKalb. Anyone desiring to attend should be at the school this evening. The school will be open 2 nights a week, Tuesday through Thursday, 7:30 to 9:30. Work will be given in English, arithmetic, business accounting, mathematics, penmanship, and citizenship. The school will be much benefit to residents of this city who have yet to secure the citizenship papers, as work and citizenship will aid them in getting their papers much sooner. So this is 1925. This is DeKalb. We have people living here who are, for lack of better words, illegal immigrants. And they're offering a class here 2 nights a week in English, arithmetic, business accounting, mathematics, penmanship, I love that, and citizenship. So how cool is that?
Yeah.
So we had the judge on. The judge was talking about back in the day when they didn't have any interpreters back in the courtroom, and he had a guy that lived in Sycamore, a Spanish gentleman, I think he was from South America, and he would call him over to the court. John Countryman, the judge, would call him over to the court whenever they had a Spanish person there to interpret. And the young man said he was so proud to be in America to do that he didn't take any money. He wouldn't take any money for being an interpreter. And now I know it's a full-time gig for people. Now this is 1925. I always think about Bugs Marone, those guys, Bugs Moran. Work on the new burglar alarm system at the DeKalb Trust and Savings Bank building is expected to complete. This is 1925. Later this week, the system is one of the most modern built and will give the bank the best protection possible. So meanwhile, they're posting the story before the alarm is ready. I can just see babyface Floyd reading this. Yeah, let's hit it before they get the alarm. 1950, DeKalb was rapidly digging out from beneath the heavy drifting of snowstorm, which buried the community. Marvin Olson on Pleasant Street had he had a bunch of corn fall on him. This is one that got me. Approximately $163,000. This is 1950. Approximately $163,000 was placed in the hands of Christmas shoppers in Sycamore yesterday when the Christmas savings checks were received from the National Bank and Trust Company in Sycamore. Remember the Christmas account, Stan? Did you have a Christmas account?
Yeah, you save a little each month or each week throughout the year.
And then they give it to you at the end? That's what Becky was telling me about it.
Yeah.
She had one. And then you get it, and then you use that to buy your Christmas present.
I think my sisters did it. I don't know if I ever did that.
Okay, I did not do that either. But that's neat. I guess you get a little interest along the way there. Also here in 1975, you want to get a little perspective on cost. Christmas greetings to friends and neighbors will cost 10 cents if they're mailed before December 28th. After that date, the 10-cent stamp will be joined the other old favorites such as the nickel beer, the 35-cent gallon of gas, and the Low Price Hall of Fame. The Office of Postmaster General Washington has announced the rate will increase to 13 cents for first-class mail. Do you think this is why the post office has been losing money for years, Dan? Like, for instance, when they raised it from 10 cents to 13 cents, they were probably still losing money with the 13 cents. I mean, what is the stamp now? I don't know.
I mean, nowadays, they have to compete with a lot more.
Yeah.
So back then, they didn't have as much competition.
That's a good point. And finally, you've got a couple here from the year 2000. Plans for 2 major shopping centers along Sycamore Road are proceeding, and we know those are there now. And finally, hoping to eliminate what officials refer to as the makeshift junkyard along Sycamore Road, the state's attorney's office has filed a second lawsuit in 5 years aimed at forcing the owner of the property at 2131 Sycamore Road, and that's right across from where Walmart is. Once served as an animal hospital owned and operated by a retired veteran, John Nelson, it has since fallen in disrepair with garbage and old building materials and other dilapidated items filling the small front and side yards of the driveway. Now, do you remember something distinctly about that veterinarian building? Because I do. I drove by it every time. Had a giant dog. Had a giant dog head. You remember it was a German Shepherd dog head?
Yeah.
With the sign, and I always wanted to know who got that when they shut this place down. That was in 2000, they shut the place down. But they had that dog sign up there for a while. I'm like, who get the dog head billboard?
Okay.
It was really cool.
It's probably in someone's shed somewhere.
I would think so. All right, Dan's going to formulate a trivia question for our news quiz, but I want to wish some happy birthdays. We missed Chris from the Junction Eating Place, had a birthday back on December 5th. Sandy Frick, as we're recording this on the 11th, is having a birthday today. And you know, happy birthday to you, Sandy. On 12/17, Bonnie Cessna and Landon Cessna, twins, they're nothing but trouble, are going to turn 5 years old in Maple Park. And on the December 18th, Edie Reynolds of DeKalb will have a birthday, and the 21st, Levi Cessna of Maple Park will be 2 years old. So now it's time for...
Oh, and my wife Maria, December 15th.
Oh, they're giving. Make sure you get that one in there.
She'll be 43.
Oh my!
All right, TD, what are you giving away?
Well, I'll tell you, I want to thank our friends at Stagecoach Players for giving away those tickets for a Christmas Carol. But now we're back to again a deluxe car wash. Not back to, this is a deluxe car wash from Ralph's Full Service Car Wash and Detail Center. $35 value. And again, also in addition thereof, we have, and we're going to give you two, how about this? 2 gift certificates to Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. Want to thank John Finn for his donation for Freezing for Food. John always helps us out with that, as helps us out with the show as well. So there you have it. That's what you win when you play the TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast Trivia game. Still haven't come up with a name.
Earlier, I listed the top 10 tax-paying employers in DeKalb. All 10 of them. Name 2 of the 10.
All right, 2 of the 10. Again, the top 10. That's a great little stat that you have there, Dan. Top 10 employers in DeKalb County, and you want this the top 2, right?
The top 10 tax-paying employers.
All right. And if you get that, you can contact me at tdryan2001 at yahoo.com. Again, tdryan2001 at yahoo.com. We will get you. I want to congratulate Ron Anderson. This winter, Ron's going to go see A Christmas Carol, and Ken Dowell will be going as well. So congratulations to them when you play the TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast Radio Quiz thing.
And you can name any of the 10.
Yeah, any of the 10. We'll accept that, too, because it's kind of some very neat list that you had there. Well, again, as we inch towards the holidays here, Dan, we're going to leave you the final word. But like you said, we're going to try to get somebody here next week opposing the data center and see if they're going to, if they're going to just lick their wounds or if they got plans to continue to try to protest and challenge this. Again, I don't know, short of chaining themselves to a tree, I don't know what else, what other options are there. But what do you got to send people off here?
Well, thanks for doing Freezing for Food, TD. That if that can continue ongoing, that is wonderful. Bears fall to the Packers.
Ugh.
But now they have the Browns and then the Packers. So here's hoping they can not overlook the Browns too much.
All right.
But I'm excited about the Bears. This team is actually good. And I think they can make the playoffs.
All right, I do too. Very good. I like that. Let's leave it at that. I want to thank my 2 cousins there, Ethan and Michael Davis, for helping get this on the air. We appreciate, of course, all our wonderful sponsors as well. And that's TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 27.